Welcome to History's Heroes Heard, where we explore the intriguing tales of the heroes who should still be heard. Today, we focus on the topic that continues to spark debates and outrage: the controversial use of Agent Orange during the Vietnam War. The Vietnam War was a tumultuous period in American history, and one of the darkest chapters was the deployment of chemical herbicides, particularly Agent Orange. Was it truly a weapon of mass destruction, or a strategic tool used in an unwinnable war? Let's uncover the layers of this divisive issue. Before we proceed, let's set the stage. Agent Orange was one of the rainbow herbicides employed by the U.S. military during the Vietnam War to defoliate the dense jungles that provided cover for the Viet Cong. It contained a potent chemical compound known as dioxin, one of the most toxic substances ever created by man. During World War II, the United States and the United Kingdom developed several herbicides, with the intention of creating herbicidal weapons. In 1943, the United States Department of the Army contracted botanist Arthur Galston and the University of Illinois Urbana-Champaign to study the effects of 2,4-D and 2,4,5-T on cereal grains and broadleaf crops. Galston's research led to the concept of using aerial herbicide applications to disrupt enemy food supplies. The U.S. conducted tests in Florida, and had the war continued, they would have used these herbicides against Japan in 1946. Post-war, the U.S. tested numerous compounds, including 2,4-D and 2,4,5-T, in various global locations, such as India, Australia, Tanganyika, and Kenya, to assess their effectiveness in tropical conditions and in the eradication of pests like the tsetse fly. This developmental history sheds light on the origins of herbicidal warfare tactics. The environmental and human impact of Agent Orange on Vietnam was catastrophic. It left a legacy of deforestation, soil contamination, and countless Vietnamese citizens and American veterans suffering from health issues. The long-lasting effects are undeniable and devastating, not only affecting the land but also the people who call it home. The consequences of this chemical warfare continue to cast a shadow over the nation. Many American veterans who served in Vietnam were exposed to Agent Orange and have faced significant health problems as a result. While in Vietnam, U.S. Allied soldiers were assured that Agent Orange was harmless, and concerns about its health effects were dismissed. However, after returning home, Vietnam veterans began to suspect a link between their ill health, instances of their wives having miscarriages or children born with birth defects, and their exposure to Agent Orange and other toxic herbicides during their service. They initiated claims in 1977 with the Department of Veterans Affairs, seeking disability payments for conditions they believed resulted from Agent Orange exposure, particularly dioxin. These claims were often denied unless they could demonstrate that the condition began during their service or within a year of discharge. To be eligible for compensation, veterans had to have served on or near the perimeters of military bases in Thailand during the Vietnam era, worked as crew members on C-123 planes used after the Vietnam War, or been associated with the Department of Defense projects related to herbicide testing, disposal, or storage in the U.S. By April 1993, the Department of Veterans Affairs had compensated only 486 individuals out of the 39,419 soldiers who had submitted disability claims related to Agent Orange exposure during their service in Vietnam. A Zogby International poll in November 2004 revealed that 79% of the respondents believed that U.S. chemical companies responsible for producing Agent Orange should compensate affected U.S. soldiers, and 51% supported compensation for Vietnamese victims of Agent Orange, highlighting the widespread concern and call for accountability surrounding this controversial issue. Now let's shift our focus to the response of the U.S. government. In the wake of growing concerns over Agent Orange's impact, A series of legal battles ensued. The government's initial reluctance to acknowledge the issue, followed by legal settlements and compensation programs, paints a complex picture. We'll explore the government's evolving stance on this controversy from denial to limited acknowledgement. In 1991, Congress passed the Agent Orange Act, granting the Department of Veterans Affairs the power to designate certain medical conditions as presumptive to exposure to Agent Orange and dioxins. This made veterans who served in Vietnam eligible to receive treatment and compensation for these conditions. The act also mandated periodic reviews by the National Academy of Sciences to assess the scientific evidence linking Agent Orange and dioxin exposure to specific health conditions. Unfortunately, the authority for these reviews and the addition of new diseases to the presumptive list expired in 2015 due to a sunset clause of the Agent Orange Act of 1991. Over the years, a list of presumptive conditions has expanded, and the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs currently recognizes a range of conditions associated with exposure to Agent Orange. These include prostate cancer, respiratory cancers, multiple myeloma, type 2 diabetes mellitus, Hodgkin's disease, non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, and others. Notably, B-cell leukemias, Parkinson's disease, and ischemic heart disease were added to the list in 2010. However, concerns have been raised about whether certain diseases on the list should be reconsidered. In 2011, an appraisal of the Air Force Health Study, spanning 20 years and commencing in 1982, found no evidence of diseases in Operation Ranch Hand veterans caused by their elevated levels of Agent Orange exposure. Initially, the VA denied applications from post-Vietnam C-123 aircrew veterans due to the lack of boots-on-the-ground service in Vietnam. In 2015, a rule change provided presumptive service connection for these veterans, expanding access to medical care and disability compensation for recognized Agent Orange-related illnesses. While this remains a polarizing issue, asking the tough questions and looking for comprehensive understanding of Agent Orange during the Vietnam War, whether you view it as a military necessity or an inexcusable tragedy, one thing is for sure: it's a dark stain on the pages of U.S. military history that can't be ignored. The brave soldiers are the only truly innocent heroes in this story. Stay tuned as we embark on this journey through history with History's Heroes Heard. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoy our content. And please share your thoughts and opinions on this controversial topic in the comments section below. Until next time, keep exploring the history that shapes our world.